Hello and welcome to the Avrum Rosensweig Show.
Welcome to one of the internet's best podcasts, where we dive deep into the lives of the extraordinary and fascinating people who leave an indelible mark on our world. Join us as we explore their captivating stories, remarkable achievements, and unique perspectives that shape history and inspire generations. Get ready to embark on a journey through the lives of inspiring people unlike any other.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the show. My name is Avrum Rosensweig, and I am just delighted to be here with you, and I thank you very much for joining me. The essence of this show really is to pat humankind on the back, and we do that through inspirational interviews. And what I mean by that is we all share this planet, all 8 billion of us. We all contribute to it in some ways, and we have done magnificent things throughout history. Absolutely magnificent things. All you have to do is think about, just step outside of your house and see the development of your city or the development of your town, the way systems work in order to allow us to actualize our gifts, our talents. The challenge today is that there is somewhat of a black cloud hanging over the world, and there is for various reasons. But what I want to do is I want to remind people that while there are pockmarks within this world that we share, there is also huge amounts of beauty and huge amounts of success. And I think we have to be aware of it. And so what I do on the Avrum Rosensweig Show is I interview individuals who have magnificent stories and who are storytellers and are able to express aspects of their life. Some of the guests that we have had on the show include Nir Mammon. Nir Mammon is a 47-year-old father who lives in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, with 5 children, and he has been deployed to Gaza 4 times since October 7th. He's a warrior. He's a Jewish warrior. He's a man who is intent on making the lives of the Jewish people better, but I would argue, because of his greatness, because of what he's achieved in life, that he is making our world safer and making our world better. Noach Braun. Noach is the founding director of the Israel Center for Guard Dogs for individuals who are visually impaired. And he tells a story about how he founded it and how, like so many other things, that he kind of fell upon a sponsor for it. Somebody really liked the idea, and they had individuals in their family who were visually impaired. You can watch all these on my channel on YouTube, the Avrum Rosensweig Show, or other social media outlets. I'm also very, very excited and also thankful. I'm going to put this up for 1 second, that we got sponsorship, and our sponsors are the Professional Center. Essentially what they are is their co-working space down at 120 Adelaide in Toronto. What they do is they allow you to rent office space. I want to show you just a couple pictures before we get going here. They allow you to rent office space for a day, for a week, for a month, for a year. And their space is gorgeous. Look at this. The prices are great. And here's the kicker. This is really, really exciting. That if you use my name, Avrum, or as some people call me, Avrum, you'll get 10% off private offices in meeting rooms. Also, if you're interested in sponsoring the show yourself or donating to it, please be in touch with me at avrum.rosensweig@gmail.com. So, talking about our inspirational guests, those individuals who make this world go around, I'm really excited to have with us today Daniella Rabbani. How are you, Danielle?
I'm great. I'm reminded of a song. Oy Avram, ich kenn und dir nicht sein. Ich und dir und die und mir kennen mir beide nicht sein. Do you know it?
I've heard it. I have actually heard it. I think there's a few Yiddish songs.
Very,
Do you know
sweet
of it? It's beautiful, and you have a beautiful voice.
Or there's another song. Ich bin a Vremel, der feekster Marviche, a große Künstler, hart leicht und sicher. It's about a thief.
Did you know the song of Rema Malamed?
No, I don't know that one.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Let me introduce you.
Sure.
People are wondering who is this person who sings so nicely, right? So listen to this, folks. Daniella Rabbani is an American actress, singer, and voiceover artist. She has appeared in a number of films and television shows, including Ocean's 8, God Friended Me, Scenes from a Marriage, The Americans, Appropriate Behavior, and more. She began her career in New York City and has since worked in many internationally prestigious theaters, Off Broadway, Jazz at Lincoln Center, Town Hall, and the State Jewish Theater of Poland. And her performance have been reviewed by the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Observer, and many others. Her directorial debut was in a short film called Oma, O-M-A, which explores the inherited trauma of being a third-generation Holocaust survivor and hit the festival circuit in 2017. Her digital series, Coming, exclamation, exclamation, it's about a sex therapist and her client with a broken vagina. I should have got a picture for that one. Was a Sundance News Voice, and even you laugh at it, was a Sundance News Voice Lab finalist. She is a singer, as you heard, and has worked extensively with the National Yiddish Theater. In 2008, a production of Gimple Tam, one in Herschel Ostropoler, which we will talk about a little bit later in 2012, and more. Thank you for joining me. I'm really appreciative. It's great to meet you.
It's good to be here. Thank you so much.
What of those three things or four things are you most passionate about? Is it the theater? Is it film? Is it singing Yiddish?
I don't think of them as any different from one another, actually. I have a real drive to make sense of the world through storytelling and sort of process the life I've been given out loud. So I host a podcast of my own called Mom Curious, where I speak to mothers. I sing in Yiddish. I act in film and TV and in theater. They seem like disparate experiences, but for me, it's all the same. It's all storytelling and connecting through shared experience.
Well, what I found very interesting is in an interview that you did, you said that your siblings, of which you have two, would dress you up when you were a kid and you would perform for them, right?
Yeah, my sister taught me, she's like the wind through my trees. She rides the night. And she's 7 years older than me. And she'll kill me that I just said that. But because she does not look it. But she would dress me up and have me perform for them. And that lasted until today. And I making my siblings laugh is probably my favorite thing. And she was the first person to ever consider me a singer, which I still don't really even like identify with completely, but I love the audience. I love how much people love art, and if I can be a vessel for that art, sign me up.
There's an interesting point that you make because I'm an artist and I've been painting for 3 decades. And probably about 2 years ago, I decided I'm an artist. And it was an evolutionary process of selling art, of people commenting on it. In some ways, I've always felt that my response to my creativity is somewhat predicated on how other people look at it. Bit of an insecurity there.
Yeah.
But when you say, I mean, you have a stunning voice. You have a gorgeous voice. And why would you not see yourself as a singer?
I'm not a classically trained singer. I went to acting school and studied Shakespeare and, really trained hard to be an actor. And so I feel most confident in that role. Like I'm aware that I'm a great host and that people enjoy my singing, but from like the perspective of like skill, I have so much more experience as an actor than I do as a singer. And I've also sung on stages with like some of the most magnificent sounding voices literally ever. So I give the audience enough respect to let them decide. You know, people seem to really enjoy, I think, not just the sound of my voice, but that I allow my soul to be almost gifted to you on a note. That's my offering more than a pretty sound, because I don't know, I don't always know that I can make that pretty sound. You know, like if you gave me a Shakespeare script, I would know what to do with it. But there are some times when I'm given music and I'm like, I actually do not know, because I'm just going off of raw talent and emotion. And so, yeah, that's why I don't consider myself a singer. But the good news about Yiddish song, which is mostly what I sing, is that there's almost always a story, certainly a character. There's a lot of, it's almost like monologues with music. So I have a sort of ownership of that style and of that genre, because it invites me in. And I also feel like when I'm singing Yiddish, it's like a really spiritual experience where I'm just being used by the music. So there's that.
So, some of the great Yiddish singers over time include Theodor Bickel, right? The
Yeah.
One of the greatest ones, actually. A versatile artist, he blended folk and theatrical elements in his Yiddish repertoire, and he's known for Tumbalalaika. Have you sang that?
Tumbalala, tumbalala, tumbalalaika, tumbalala. But you know, I just sang it at a for a very young, beautiful Russian American Jewish podcaster yesterday, and that was the first song that she ever knew in Yiddish, and I feel like that really it really has transcended generations. I don't nationalities. People know and love that song. Yeah.
Why do they, Daniela? What is it about Yiddish music that moves people so deeply?
There's a theme in most Jewish music, which is the niggin, or the nigun, the wordless melody, a primordial sound that goes straight to the heavens. And it's often used as the chorus and an invitation for the audience to sing along, because it even theater music in Yiddish is folk music.
Mm-hmm.
And folk music is meant for the people. I try to imagine that it was baked on the streets of Eastern Europe, where, you know, all the Klezmorim would be on the street, on the literal street, all together, and they would be on the same plane as the community congregation audience, and there wouldn't be this like hierarchical experience of I'm the singer and, you know, you're the listener, because the Jewish experience is so inclusive. We don't, even with our rabbis, of course there are leaders, and but but we have each an individual relationship with the divine, and that's translated in our music as well. And music has always been a catalyst for connecting to what we would call Hashem, or the great creator. So I think in the niggin, in the wordless melody, even if you don't speak Yiddish, like tumbalala, tumbalala, tumbalalaika, you can catch on to that. Me, someone who isn't a classically trained singer, isn't a trained singer at all, knows hundreds of Yiddish songs, Now, I wasn't even raised speaking Yiddish, but it's catchy. It's catchy and it's rhythmic and it's inviting in that you don't necessarily always need to understand the words. And sometimes there are no words at all. Because of that repetition, it's easy to learn and
Mhm.
easy to sing along to and hard to get out of your head.
I interviewed Neshama Karbach. Do you know Neshama?
I know her and I play with her bassist, Brian Glassman, they've been collaborators for such a long time. She seems like such a lovely person.
She's a beautiful person. Listen to the interview. And I said to her, I said, Neshama, is da-dan, die, 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 die. Are those lyrics? She goes, absolutely. She goes, they're absolutely lyrics. So sort of in sync with what you were saying a few minutes ago, that the Yiddish music and the Yiddish lyrics are very, very catchy. You can just close your eyes and do that die, 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 die for hours and hours, right?
Yeah, well, even if you don't know the words to the song, there's always the option to biddy bye bye, you know?
Yeah, there
I
you
sing
go. Yes.
I sing Oy Avram, right? So die ya bye bye, ya ya bye 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 bye. It's not as precious as, some other forms of music because it's for the people. It really is. It's a music for the people.
And how do the people respond?
Um, when I sing,
Is the audience quiet? Do they get up and sing? Do they clap? Are they effervescent or are they just very introspective?
it depends. It depends on the venue. It depends on um, the group. Um, there's a large portion of Yiddish enthusiasts who are old.
Yeah.
So even if they remember, "Zu mir ist gekommen a Cousine," maybe on the inside, they're wiggling, but they're not necessarily able to express that. And they're getting older and older. I've been singing Yiddish music for the past nearly 17 years, and I've had the profound privilege of singing with people like Five-ish Finkel and Chava Alberstein,
Yeah.
and now younger singers. I've actually never sung with them, but there's a wonderful duet that you can find on Instagram called the Schwesters, between the sisters, and they're reviving these Yiddish classics really beautifully and inviting in a younger crowd. So when I when I perform at a bar, I think people, they like it. They always like it. I'll give you that. They always like it. But if it's the first time they're hearing this music, they could be more introspective. If I teach them a niggin and I invite them to repeat it after me, um, more often than not, they will, because it's fun.
I love the name of their group, Schwesters.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Wonderful. It's Yiddish for sisters. And I have
Mhm.
4 sisters. One has passed away. But so Schwesters is very dear to me. When you sing, as an example, with Chava Alberstein, she's a beloved singer and actress. She's celebrated for her contributions to Yiddish and Israeli music. She's known for Donna Donna, Donna Donna. Are you, when you really get into the zone, you metaphorically otherwise close your eyes and you're really, really feeling and touching those words, are you there with her? Are you with the crowd? Or very often are you just so into yourself that you may forget where you are?
I think it depends on the song and it depends on the situation. If I'm having a tech issue, you better believe I am just hoping it all goes well.
Yeah.
Like it's just a
Me too.
normal job, just like any other. And then there are songs like my Shesed Chaya, my sister Chaya, which I learned from Chava Alberstein about, a young girl who raised her brother on a called Smutches Street in a house with crooked steps, and he tells the story of how she was killed in TriBeCa and she wasn't even 10 years old. And it's for her that Binim Heller, the writer of the poem, writes in Yiddish, because maybe somewhere up there on God's right side is his Shesed Chaya. Even just thinking of it, I am with her almost always. I'm assuming there are some times when there's a tech issue and I'm just hoping to be heard, but for the most part, that's where I am in that song.
Do you look into your partner's eyes on stage?
I guess it depends if I'm meant to look in their eyes or not.
I've heard singers say that when they are on stage, that it's greater for them than making love. And I thought, my gosh, that must be such a transitional way of singing. That must be so incredibly deep, right?
Yeah.
Do you know Yiddish? Do you speak Yiddish?
When I was in acting school at the Stella Adler Studio, I was asked to carry on the legacy of the Yiddish theater by Stella's grandson, Tom Oppenheim, who runs the studio. And when I graduated, I got a scholarship to study Yiddish with the National Yiddish Theater and the Workers' Circle. And I took to the language pretty quickly, given that I was raised speaking Hebrew, and Yiddish is a Germanic language, as is English, written in Hebrew characters. But it wasn't until my mentor, Zalman Mlotek, taught me Yiddish songs that I felt like I had really remembered this entire canon.
Well, do you ever find yourself in a conversation with an elderly person, a man or woman, and they start speaking to you in Yiddish?
Sometimes, yeah.
And how do you do with that?
I speak to them in Yiddish, but I also just end up singing to them also. I feel like I have access to a lot of Jewish joy and wisdom that, fortunately or unfortunately, most people don't have. So if I have a captive audience, I will likely share these songs with them.
Well, what is that joy? Where does it come from?
I think the music is really beautiful, really evocative, and the poetry of Yiddish song really paints a picture of life before, during, and after the Holocaust in a way that I'm not sure any other language could. And my grandparents are survivors, and they really never wanted to be defined by that experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when I am able to almost meet their contemporaries or their ancestors and understand that they had a life. Some of them were pious, some of them were romantic, some of them were the dreck of society. They had a life, and they were people, and they were Jews before, during, and after World War II.
Yeah, that's the fascinating thing. I wrote an article a number of years ago about individuals who have gone through the Holocaust or have gone through genocides in Cambodia or in Rwanda. And I centered it around this wedding that I had attended where I saw a Holocaust survivor, a woman, dancing with her granddaughter. And I thought to myself, you have been in hell. You've been closer to it than most of us will ever see. Yet here you are dancing on the floor, celebrating the simcha, the celebration. And I remember she was doing it with great verve and great effervescence. And I thought, my God, humankind is magnificent that way. How so many people are able to overcome such difficulties and do it with such spirit and neshama, such soul.
Mm.
It's beautiful to watch. I had this image, by the way, when you answered a question before. I asked you if you speak Yiddish to old folks, and you said I sing to them, right? I had this image of you dancing with an older woman, and I saw your hands, which I'm assuming are very young. Can we see?
They're young enough.
Okay, good. Here's mine. I'll be a role model. And I saw this older woman's hands, and they were wrinkled, and they had gone through a lot of life. And it was a beautiful image to see.
Yeah, I have some of those with my grandmother, for sure.
You talk a lot about your grandmother.
Mm.
And I think one of the things that stuck out in terms of your narrative about her was that she did not see her life as being special, and she didn't particularly want to talk about what she had gone through. Right? That must be very frustrating for you, wasn't it?
There's a study devoted to intergenerational trauma, which I had caught wind of, I think it was nearly 15 years ago at this point, where at the time people were just understanding that we can inherit our parents and grandparents' traumatic experiences, and that it can affect us biologically and otherwise. Of course, there's some consideration around nature versus nurture and the stories we tell each other and ourselves. But stories are actually really important because they close the trauma loop.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason why Jewish people are able to move forward in life and thrive is because we are storytellers and have been for thousands of years, telling the same exact stories all over the globe, every single week, word perfect, synchronized for thousands of years. And those stories as metaphors help us tremendously, but our own family stories are the way we process what we've been through and who we are. And my grandparents soldiered on for better or for worse, like many Holocaust survivors, and were not able to even utter their own life stories, which affected me as a sensitive child very much. I think for my grandmother, who was a very strong, beautiful, intelligent woman, that was her way of surviving not just the war, but her life. And I, through the making of my film, Oma, recognized that, okay, I wish I had known the details. It would have been helpful for me, but it's her life. And this is my cross to bear. Actually, telling the stories of my family and telling these Yiddish stories has been very healing for me, and I really do believe it's healing for a lot of people. I think that's probably why, you know, the audience sticks around. It's because they get a better sense of who they are when they know where they come from through our collective Jewish history.
Daniella, what is the healing that you go through? What are you being healed from?
I mean, the Jewish experience is beautiful, but it's not easy.
No, schwer zu sein a Yid. It's hard to be a Jew.
There's Susanna Yates, yeah.
Yeah. So what are you healing from? What are we all healing from?
I think we're healing from the disillusionment of the world, you know. I think it's a shocking experience to know that there's such evil and violence, that in fact the Jewish people are caught in this violent cycle even still. I think for me, having an understanding of the beauty of my culture gives me a tremendous amount of pride and assuages some of that heartache.
Why are we hated so much?
People ask me that all the time as if I'm supposed to know.
I asked all my guests, Jewish and non, because I don't know. Honestly, I look at our people. I was born into an Orthodox family. My father was a rabbi. I have studied Talmud and Torah incessantly. I've been involved in community. I started a nonprofit Jewish humanitarian organization. All of it. I live and breathe Jewishness, my Jewishness. And I think we're magnificent, magnificent people. And I just don't get why we're hated so much. I don't get it. Any thoughts? Any thoughts to help me through this, you know?
You know, I had an experience recently where I realized that I was also asking that question a lot and really trying to make sense of it. And there are some things in this world that don't make sense. I feel like as children, our parents do the best they can to let us know that it's all going to be okay and that 1 + 1 = 2. And there was a moment for me in this past year where I realized, oh, I'm an adult and I know the secret. And that is that there are mysteries in this world that I will never solve. Jew hatred is one of those mysteries.
You know, Da Vinci had 10 rules that he lived by. One of them was to embrace confusion. And I think you're right. I think in order to keep going, you have to embrace the craziness of Jew hatred in light of the fact that we really are a special people. And I'm not into this chosen people thing too much, because I think every people's has something to offer the world. But we have a lot, and we've accomplished so much. And I see protests outside my window here, and I'm thinking, you have no idea what you're protesting against or who you're protesting against. You just don't know. Now, you and I share something. I was brought up Orthodox. as you were. And
Hmm.
I went to yeshiva, a very Haredi, a very right wing yeshiva for 5 years, and for 1 year in Israel in Sanhedria. So I know that world very, very well. I'm not religious anymore, but I studied Torah a lot. For the high holidays, I started what's called the forest shul, and I take about 30 people into the forest nearby, and we do kind of a Breslover thing. We embrace nature. We hug a tree. We talk about introspection, and we talk about apologizing to others and so on. Where are you with your Judaism that way? Because I know you were brought up modern Orthodox.
I am the definition of Israel. I struggle with God. I am in an active relationship and struggle with God.
Yeah.
I commemorated the October 7th massacre 2 days ago. We're recording on the 9th. And I learned this new song to me. It was written in 2019 by Ishai Ribo. And it goes, um, the part that really gets me is he goes, לך קראנו בלילות, ועוד נצעק ברחובות, רחם עלינו אבא הושיענו, הושיענו. So it says that we cry to you in the night, and still we scream in the streets. Have mercy on us, Father. Save us. I repeated that chorus. It's a little longer than that. I repeated that chorus maybe 20 times and wailed.
You sobbed.
Yeah. I must believe in God because I am in an active conversation and I'm like Tevye, you know?
Hmm.
The fuck, man? Why? And I say why on every side. Why? Why do we have to defend ourselves? Why do we have to engage in violence at all? Why? Why can't I just be a peacenik like those kibbutznikim and live? Why? Why? Um, I find Judaism as a religion to be very beautiful. And I share a lot of that with my children. I'm not as interested in the do's and don'ts, but I have a tremendous respect for people who do, by the way. I I love it for them. I really do. I just don't find spirituality in it the way, let's say, my father does. He finds such comfort in wrapping tefillin, as did my grandfather, who wasn't Shomer Shabbos, but he wrapped tefillin, and he was a Holocaust survivor. I find a lot of goodness and spirituality when I'm in Israel, where uh, my family is from. Um, and I love our culture and our languages. And it's an unfolding still.
What ritual do you hold on to? Which ritual do you embrace? Halacha.
I don't know. I actually do think that the storytelling profession is a very Jewish one. I mean, I'll tell you, I'm in the midst of um, creating a documentary about Klezmer music, and Did you know that Yiddish theater became Broadway, became Hollywood?
I did.
We had a profound impact on, the world. And I feel like being an artist is, in this way and in this capacity, is a holy experience.
Do you bless your children?
Sometimes.
When you were younger, did you have your father put his hand on your head? Yisimcha lehim kefra, like that?
Yeah.
And do you talk to God?
Sometimes.
How is that?
I mean, if I'm talking to God, it's because I have a problem. I when I light Shabbat candles, if I do light Shabbat candles, I do talk directly to God. Yeah.
And how are you with God?
Right now, I am confused.
Yeah.
Like, why would you let this happen? Why?
And does he answer you? Does she answer you?
No, but my ancestors do. I actually have a very almost tangible experience of speaking to with those who have already passed. And they give me a lot of solace, that it'll make sense once it's all over.
Can you give me an example?
I can communicate with my grandparents. Often when I'm singing in Yiddish, I can see just a bunch of Yidden.
In your minds, in your soul.
Yeah.
How do they look?
Healthy and happy.
They do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice.
All they really want is our joy. That's it. That's all our ancestors want from us. And they stick around just to check in, make sure we're still creating joyful lives for each other, for ourselves.
There's a school of thought within Judaism that the reason why we say Kaddish is because we have a relationship with those who have passed. And our words, it's a mourner's prayer, push our loved ones higher in the gates of heaven. Within that school of thought, there's this idea that those who have passed watch over us. Very often we say, Booby's 80, keep an eye on us. We can use your strength within heaven and advocate on our behalf to God. Is that what you're talking about, Danielle?
In some way, yeah. But I think it's different for everyone.
I'm saying the reciprocal nature that we have with those who have passed.
Yeah, but I do really think that it's specific to each person.
Okay.
I don't think there's a blanket.
Are you a mystic?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so too. I think you are.
I think I am.
A lot of people call themselves empaths, which I don't like, because empaths come very infrequently as far as I'm concerned. But when you're with somebody or with a group or with your children, do you have a strong empathetic response to where they are at?
Yes, I do. I think more than a mystic, I would call myself an artist, and I think artists usually do, because if you can tap into the audience, the collective consciousness and what the audience needs from you as a source of healing, I think you need to be empathetic to their state.
You studied under not Stella Adler, but you studied within her school.
Mhm.
And I, if I'm correct, tell me, I did a little research into her. She was Marlon Brando's teacher, which was very cool. Do you know
So
the
cool.
story? Do you know the story she tells about Marlon Brando?
No.
She first started teaching him, and she got a call from Marlon's mom, Mrs. Brando. She said, "My son is taking acting very seriously, and I would ask you, please, to stop calling him Bud." I guess that was his name or vernacular or something, and start calling him Marlon. So,
Wow.
so she did, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Mama.
Mama, exactly. It's a very cool story. You think Marlon Brando's mom, like, what was she like? By the way, there's a story told about
Like,
Marlon.
she was like
Yeah,
Marlon Brando. She was a boss.
you know why he started acting?
No.
He started acting because his mother was highly depressed, and it was his job to make her laugh.
Yeah.
And later on, when he was asked in interviews by some great interviewers, Marlon, you're perceived, you're thought of being the best actor ever. And he looked at Connie Chung. I remember she asked him that. He said, "Do you see yourself as the best journalist ever?" And she said, "Well, no." He said, "Listen, I just do this because it's my job." And he expressed some resentment to the genesis of studying to be a thespian, that he had to make his mother laugh because nobody else was. And I thought that was fascinating. But just to get back to Stella, she
I'll
said,
give you a little tidbit about
yeah, go.
my father. He calls me Marlon Brando in the female version.
I love that. Why did he call you that?
He loves my acting. He just
He
loves it.
he does. What does he love? What does he love about it? What does he tell you?
Well, he is a beautiful man and singer and a big personality and a star. And he really loves that I have the privilege of using all of my talents professionally. I think he's really proud of that for himself, for me. It takes a lot of luck and, like I said, safety and privilege to be an artist. There are a lot of people who are wildly talented and could never invest in themselves in this way, could never devote themselves because they need to survive. I have
How,
the privilege of thriving. I think my father is very grateful for that on a lot of levels.
why could you
Why could I?
rise in the way that you have, do well in the way that you have? What allowed you to do that?
I have support.
Yeah,
I have
right,
support.
right.
My father is a veteran of the Yom Kippur War. My grandparents are Holocaust survivors. My grandparents on my father's side lived in Israel before the modern state of Israel, and they were all just trying to survive. I'm a first generation American. The idea that I could pursue a passion is all thanks to them.
Yeah.
And by the way, my husband, who is wildly supportive and really believes in art and in storytelling and in music as an important, integral part of our culture and society. There's
Have
no
you
way for an artist to thrive without support.
have you ever felt alone?
Of course.
What sort of loneliness? Because you have so many supportive people around you.
I don't know what you mean.
I know people who do not have support. I know people who are on their own. And then a dear friend of mine, Moish, came over the other night, and we were talking, smoking a joint. And we always talk about his history because his mother adored him, and she was always directing him. And his uncle Label learn Torah with him consistently, and so on and so forth. And I said, Moshe, do you realize that you've never been alone, that there have been people behind you supporting you? Do you understand how special that is? And he does. And then I know people who, I worked with the homeless for many years. They have nobody. They just have nobody. And it's so important to see that distinction. So my question to you is, do you ever feel alone? It's more of a rhetorical thing. Like, you have tons of people around you who love you and respect you. That loneliness you feel is more of an existential loneliness?
I guess you might be probing at something that isn't there.
Okay. I do that. And if it is there, I get excited, but okay. I wanted to ask you before about your Yiddish, and I want to give you a test. Are you open to a test?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to say a few Yiddish lines. You tell me what they mean, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A Mensch denkt und Gott lacht. Or a Mensch tracht und Gott lacht.
A man thinks and God laughs.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It means, similar to our conversation, we try to figure things out, and there God is laughing.
Yeah, right. And you know that experience when you work really, really hard on something. You go, okay, we're good to go. Everything is in place. And then something just crops out, right? And you have the senses, okay, God is watching. And as much as you try, man, sometimes it just doesn't work out, right?
Yeah.
Gotta roll with it. Okay, how about this? Was wilt, der Weg is.
What you want, the way is.
Where there's a will,
The
there's a
Rumi
way.
quote, when there's a will, there's a way. It's a Rumi quote. Actually, it's like, if you think it, they will come. That's not Rumi, but it's a manifestation sort of idea. Like, if you think what you want is, it's a Vedic idea, is like the desire you have is divinely placed for you to receive it.
You like Rumi, don't you?
I like Rumi, yeah.
Did you see this quote up in the corner there? I got that from one of your pages. I got that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I thought it was you. I did a search on you and that came up. Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh boy.
Okay. Du kennst es nicht nehmen mit dir.
Du kennst es nicht nehmen mit dir?
Yeah.
You can, if not taking from you. I don't know.
You can't take it with you.
Oh, you can't take it with you.
No, you can't take it with you. I've been playing around with AI lately. Are you into AI at all? Artificial intelligence? Have you dabbled?
No.
You might want to try. It's really, really interesting. So I asked AI to write a poem about you.
Oh, God.
You want to hear it?
Sure.
Here we go. It's called Ode to Daniella Rabbani.
Oh, my God.
It's really lovely. In the glow of Hollywood's bright sheen, Daniella's shine a vibrant queen. With grace she danced through Ocean's 8, a star whose light we celebrate. From silver screens to heartfelt tunes, she weaves her magic under moons. A Yiddish singer, a voice so sweet, with Yiddish mama our hearts she meets. Her melodies cradle, tender and warm, a heritage rich, a cultural charm. Each note a story, each word a thread, binding the past with the paths that she treads. We're not done. In whispered tales behind the mic, her voice, a chime, a guiding light, from scripted lines to heartfelt art, Daniella sings from the depths of her heart. So here's to the actress, the singer, the soul. In every performance, she makes us whole. A tapestry woven of passion and grace. Daniella Rabbani, our star in the space. What do you think?
What?
Yeah. I'm
How
telling
did
you.
AI even? What? How
So
did
what
I come
so
up with
that
something like that?
so Danielle, you go to Chat GBT and there's a search bar, and I put in write me a poem about Daniella Rabbani, including her Yiddish singing of
Uh-huh.
a Yiddish mama, and just a couple facts, and this is what they came out with.
Wow. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That was very heartwarming, AI.
Are you at all shy?
I think I've become more shy. Yeah. I used to be very
Over
extro
time?
over time. Yeah, I used to be very extroverted, but I'm a little less so recently. Yeah.
Because of the kids?
Kids and COVID and all of it.
So
Yeah.
when do you get shy? Because I saw you
Yeah.
look down very humbly. When do you get shy?
I'm all the time. I get shy all the time.
Okay. Because when you sing, and I watch many of your videos, man, you're completely out there. You're completely present.
Yeah.
Your
I
body
think
language, it's amazing.
thanks. I think when all of us are doing the thing we're meant to do, we really come alive, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I enjoy interviews. I appreciate the time and I am grateful for it. Um, and it's a part of my job to get the, message out. But, my work is where I feel, you know, most fully expressed.
Have you read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning?
No, I haven't.
He was in Auschwitz and he was a psychologist, and he created a mode of psychology called logotherapy. And you know what it is? It's
No.
fascinating, and it doesn't really exist so much today. It's that if you pursue your meaning and your passion, as you said before, that is a form that is therapeutic,
It really is.
right?
It really is. Yeah,
Yeah.
really is. I Every time I create a piece of, um, you know, even if it's like on Instagram, if I sing a song or if I um, record my podcast or make a movie or making this movie about Klezmer, I feel so sane.
Mm.
I feel so good. Things make more sense when I'm doing the thing I'm born to do.
Yeah. You sing to your kids
Yes, I give them a concert every night, mostly in Yiddish, sometimes in Hebrew.
when they're in bed.
Oh yeah,
Do they fall asleep
yeah.
while you're?
Sometimes they say, "Mommy, stop singing," but other times, yeah, they like it. They really like Oifim Pripitchik and Rosenkes mit Mandlin.
That's beautiful. Russian kids are raisins, right?
Rosenkes mit Mandlin. Yeah, it's a song that has become folklorized as a lullaby, but it was in uh, an operetta called Shalamis, um, and it tells the story of a young widow in the corner of the temple, rocking her baby Yidele as a metaphor, the little Jew, and saying, "Now we only have raisins and almonds, but one day when the trains encircle the globe and there's plenty, essentially, you'll be rich beyond measure, but you'll always remember where you came from."
Can you sing it for us,
Sure.
please?
In dem Beis Hamikdash, in a winkel cheder, sitzt die Almone Bas Zion allein. Ir bin Yochid li Yidele, wiegt sie geseder, Zu laut. Bringt ihm zum Schlafen ein Liederle schön. Ai, lilu, 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 lilu. Triteles Fliegele steht der Klor weiß Ziegele. Das Ziegele ist gefrorene Handeln. Das wird sein dein Beruf. Rosinkäs mit Mandeln. Schlaf, Friedele, schlaf. And then it goes on.
I felt sane there for a second.
Doing what you meant to do.
Yeah, like all the voices, all the noises got out of my head for a second. Thank you. It's beautiful. You mind if I read a prayer for the hostages?
I don't mind at all.
May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, and Rachel, and Leah, bless, preserve, and protect the captives and missing soldiers of the citizens of Israel and the Israel Defense Forces. May God rescue them from captivity and speedily restore them in peace. In the merit of the prayers of this holy congregation who pray for them, may the Holy One, blessed be God, show them mercy, increase their strength, remove their pain, and send them a recovery of body and spirit. May God return to them to the bosom of their family swiftly and soon. And let us say amen.
Amen.
Do you think about where they are at all?
All the time.
Like, are you able to go there in your mind that they're inside tunnels?
I recently have made the decision to try not to.
To try not to.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a very unique interview.
Oh, yeah?
Well, it was somewhat mystical in nature. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have a lovely spirit.
Thank you.
Lovely
So do you.
spirit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If we could direct our listener to our film, Klezmer, I would be so grateful for any support.
All right. I'll make sure to put that in our notes. I want to thank everybody for listening and for watching. As I said at the top of the show, the idea behind the Avrum Rosensweig show is to interview inspirational people, storytellers, as we did today with Daniella Rabbani. And I want you to take out of it what you can. There are a lot of people who are struggling to find their zone. And that's not unusual at all. It's very, very difficult to really tap into your gift, as we call it in Hebrew, your matana, maybe a God-given thing or whatever your spiritual predilection is. But people who do it, essentially try really, really hard to find it. And once they've discovered it, just to dive right in and to actualize it to its fullest. And I think if you ask me, what could I take out of this interview today with Daniella, I would say that it's her passion and it's her ability to move to D, just to keep trying different things. And I would also say that it's the support, Daniella, that you have within your family and multi-generationally. Find that support, man. Find that support. If it's not in your family, find friends who do it. Join groups, whatever it happens to be. A synagogue's a nice place to go. There are a lot of people who are supportive there. Or a church, or a mosque. Yeah, jump in.
I just want to say that your existence is our ancestors' greatest dream come true. And I mean that for Jews and non-Jews alike. The fact that you are here, and I know sometimes people have more complicated relationships with their families of origin, which I absolutely respect. And still, the amount of effort and prayer for your mere existence was so enormous. And we really are never alone, because we were brought here by millennia of human beings who wanted us very badly and who believed in this world, believed in life itself. you can take some support right there. It's
Beautifully
always
said.
accessible to you.
Daniella Rabbani, thank you for being with me. And thank you for agreeing to be a guest. You were wonderful. You really are. You have a beautiful soul. Beautiful
Thank
soul.
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, until we see you again, as we say in the vernacular, we've been ending lately. You're going to like this, Daniela, with a little Yiddish. Sei gesund. How would you translate that, sei gesund?
Be well.
Yeah, just be well. Be healthy. And we'll see you soon. Am Yisrael Chai.
I'm
Thank you for
Sarah.
joining us.